What's up guys, Into here, and today we have a different video for you all. This video will go over the highlights on my Pokemon Emerald Nuzlocke. This video is actually the first video I made a script for, and I will be planning to use this method more constantly in the near future. So don't forget to like and subscribe, as well as turn on the noties bell, and let's dive into my first Pokemon Nuzlocke. As soon as I got out of the moving truck and finally made it to my new house, I noticed that Professor Birch was getting wrecked by a level 2 Poochyena. He said to take a Pokemon from his bag, and I chose Mudkip, which I named Blueberry later on. My next encounters were a Wingull I named Penelope and a Ralts which I named DeVito. Afterwards, I battled Mace Trico and obviously won. Next, I decided to get a Poochyena myself, since it was a very early Dark type in the game. I went to Petalburg City to see my dad in his gym and helped the poor kid Wally catch his first Pokemon, which was a Ralts, by the way. Afterward, I went to the forest and caught a Wurmple I named Camera with a K, and then went to the next town to take on Roxanne, which I easily beat with Blueberry. Afterwards, I went to Dewford Town to get Sumo the Makuhita, which would be very viable with Norman. We then took on Brawly, the fighting-type gym, which was trickier than Roxanne, but I managed to beat the gym with no problem. Then suddenly, Blueberry evolved into Marshtomp, which would mean bye-bye-bye to those electric types. I then went to Slateport City and caught an electric named Jolter, which meant that Team Aqua was in for a beating. I raided the weather station and defeated Team Aqua, and in return, I got a Pokemon called Castform, which I named Slick, by the way. After the battle, I went north and decided to raid Team Magna's base and caught a Numel I named Sad. I was actually surprised to know that I had no deaths so far, but that would not be long. I tried to take on Maxie, but DeVito got crit one-shot by Maxie's Camerupt, which meant that this was my first death in the Nuzlocke. I went to Lavaridge Town shortly after and almost broke out in tears. The battle versus Flannery was tough, and I lost Penelope in the process. But I managed to get the badge anyway. Afterward, I went south and caught Cloud the Swablu. After that, I got the goggles to get through the sandstorm and caught, Goggles the Trapinch. After that, I went back to Petalburg, and since Sumo evolved into Hariyama, I decided to sweep Norman's team with Sumo. But the stupid Slacking decided to be a butt and crit one-shot Sumo. Blueberry took care of the Slacking and shortly after evolved into Swampert, which was freaking amazing. After some training, Jolter evolved into Manectric and Cloud evolved into Altaria. It was then time to take on the 6th gym leader, Winona, which was very easy thanks to Jolter. Next I went east and caught Satan the Absol and Reaper the Scyther, which then I evolved into Scissor after some trading. But then, after some training, Goggles evolved into Vibrava, and we decided to take on Tate and Liza, which was easy because of Satan, who's a Dark type, and Goggles, who knew Crunch. Afterwards, I decided to rematch both Team Aqua and Magma, but Groudon and Kyogre then woke in an angry rage and decided to have a war in Sutopolis. I met up with a guy named Wallace in the Cave of Origins and decided to find Rayquaza, who could supposedly calm down both beasts. And he did! Finally, it was time to take on Juan, which was also easy because of Jolter and Goggles. Goggles finally evolved into Flygon, which meant that my whole team was now fully evolved, and now I can take on the League. I battled Wally one more time in Victory Road, and started to beat the Elite Four one by one. Reaper took down all of Cindy's Pokemon, while Satan and Absol took care of Phobe's Pokemon. Then afterwards, Reaper and Goggles took down Glacia's Pokemon, and finally, the last Elite Four member, Drake. Wait, what? Blueberry decided it was funny to Ice Beam all of Drake's Dragon-type Pokemon. Yeah, and finally it was the champion left, Wallace. Jolter took care of all Wallace's Pokemon except for Wishcash, which made sense because Wishcash is a ground type. Blueberry then crit one-shot Wallace's Wishcash, which means I won my first ever Pokemon Nuzlocke. Thanks so much for watching this video, and without further ado, I'll see you in the next one.